Hi, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to another edition of The Author Speaks. My name is Renee Smith, and I'm the CEO and founder of IABX, Independent Authors Book Experience, a nonprofit organization that supports and empowers independent authors through various workshops and events like this one. And we're promoting literacy for all ages. Today, we have a special guest here tonight that we're going to introduce you to. But before we do that, we are going to just give you some highlights and some updates on what's going on, what's coming down the pike, and what you can expect from us coming up. So, this Saturday, October 19th, we are hosting the 11th annual Independent Authors Book Expo at Kane University Downs Hall. We're very excited. This year we have over 45 authors and vendors from all across the United States. This year we have 7 states represented. They're coming from all over to be at the Independent Authors Book Expo. So we're inviting you, the reader, to come out and experience the book expo. If you've never been there before, you need to come. It's going to be an amazing experience. You just don't want to miss it. You want to come out and be a part of the book expo. The second thing is the Author Speaks. We are also now registering people or authors for 2025. So if you're an author and you want to participate in the Author Speak, you can register on our website at www.iabx.org. I'm going to give you that website again, www.iabx.org. And we want to make sure that you're logging on and signing up to participate in some of these events that we're hosting. And going forward, as of 2025, we'll be going back to in-person Author Speaks. We're at the local library in Roselle, the Roselle Public Library. So we'll be hosting our events or Author Speaks live and direct in person. So if you want to participate, just remember that it'll be in person going forward in 2025. There may be opportunities to be virtual, but we're going back in person. We really like the atmosphere, to seeing the readers. You can come in, you can sign your books, you can sell your books there. So we want to get back in person. You know, COVID happened and we went virtual, but now we're back. And we want to bring you back in person. The other thing that's going to happen differently in 2025 is that we're also going to be hosting our children's book festival. So definitely, if you're a children's book author and a young adult author, definitely sign up to participate. All of that can be found on our website at iabx.org. And, you know, there's so much going on at IABX, and we're here to support you, the author, in any way, shape, or form that we can. So definitely sign up. And I know there's a lot of things that I'm missing, but I know I'll catch up with them at the end. But without further ado, we're going to get into why we're here. We're here to hear the Author Speaks. And this week, we are featuring Felicia Ogunnowo. She is a young author from Hillside, New Jersey. She has her BSW from Rutgers and has attained her MSW. She is now aiming towards becoming involved in the entertainment industry. She lives to write stories and plays and hopes to do more of it. Now, Felicia is no stranger to the Author Speak. She's been here before, but if you will just give her a virtual hand clap as we bring her on to the stage. Welcome, Felicia.
Hi, Renee. It's good to see you again.
Yes, likewise. Thank you so much for joining and participating again in the Author Speaks. This the last time you were here, we featured you on our Women's History Month, and now you're here to promote your other book. So before we get in, I'm just going to ask you to just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself. You know who you are and what it is that you do.
hmm so once again, you kind of went over uh, a bit of it. So originally, I am from Hillside. I do like moving around sometime. But originally, I'm from New Jersey, Hillside particularly. Um, growing up, growing up, I was always very into creative things. I loved writing poems, short stories, and all that good works. And then it wasn't until actually I was in college, I was minoring in creative writing, and so once again I was writing all the time and just creating all these stories and just getting back into my imagination. And then suddenly COVID happened, and then in between that time, between COVID, before and after COVID, I actually began developing short stories, and short stories from different points of views, like so first, second, third person, and then. And then from there, COVID happened, and then between that time, I just began writing and developing the story and everything. And then I suddenly from all those stories and such, it began to cultivate itself into something much bigger. Thus became my first book. So then from this, so then, but by the time that COVID was like kind of slowing down a little bit, and we were coming back into like school and working on all the other things, you know, I mustered up the courage in myself to say, you know what, this is something that's on my heart, my spirit to put out there. I'm like, you know what, it deserves to be out there. So I wrote it, I published it. That was my first book that came out, and
Mhm.
then from there, I've just been obsessed. I've just been so obsessed. I've gotten back into my love of writing and storytelling
Okay,
and creating stories, and just my love for it, and me coming back into realizing that this is what I'm truly called for. This is what I truly want to do, and then just
right,
trying to do it any which way I can.
right,
So
right.
yeah, so yeah.
Okay, awesome. And that's it's always good when you it's good when you can re-engage with your passion, because a
hmm
lot of the times, things are happening, and as they say, life
hmm
is lifing, and
Yeah.
you're kind of just going, and then you're able to stop for a minute and pause and really re-engage with yourself, and to just exist and just be in the moment. So
Yeah.
it's good when you're
Yeah.
able to take that step back so that you can actually move forward. So I'm glad that you have found your rhythm again, and were able to not only um, write the stories but also publish the stories. And that's why you're here with us today to really talk about the stories that you have worked on. And I think the story or the book you're going to be featuring today is um, Hillstone, right? Is that the one you're going to be talking about, Hillstone?
Yes.
So, can you just tell us a little bit
Yes.
about the book?
Right. So I actually have a copy here in case anyone wanted to see it in person. This is it right here. This is the book Hillstone.
Yeah.
So once again this was the when I was talking about where once again kind of like it was kind of cultivated out of a series of short stories that I was writing. I was writing in different points of views, but all within the same storyline. And so then
Mhm.
once again, just with work and development, it cultivated into this book. And so once again, this kind of developed out of my own upbringing in Hillside, the things that I went through, the struggles that I went through regarding my culture, my race, my uh, religion, spirituality, um, and then also kind of just like uh, thriving, not thriving, but kind of like mashing that into my love for mystery and thrillers, and always having like sharp turns and twists and turns at the end of every corner. And so once again, I do plan for this to be a series. I'm currently working on the second novel as of right now, so big
Oh,
hopes
nice.
for that one as well. And once again, just a bit of a backstory. It's a bit of a backstory. It's about a young African American girl who is coming into a predominantly white school, and she's just different right off the bat, culturally different, uh, financially different, racially different, just everything. And then once again, as she's coming into this new space, she's kind of being thrust into this mystery at the school, and amongst this clique, amongst these people that she's trying so hard to fit in with. And so once again, it's just her trying to find her place, and her just trying to just figure out what's happening, and how she ties into everything.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I think for young people, especially when they go into different environments, it's
Mm-hmm.
interest. It's always good to have you having a book that goes through, even if it's I would say realistic fiction, if you will, because you said it's loosely based off of your interactions when you lived in Hillside. So I'm
Yes.
sure you took some creative licenses, but it's a good way for young people to connect, to see
Mm-hmm.
maybe how the protagonists dealt with those issues as they came up, or dealt with them, or walked through the process. So I'm intrigued. I haven't read the book, so I'm going to have to get a copy so that I can read it, and we can really talk about how the story progresses, and what the second book is going to look like, because if it's a
Mm-hmm.
series, what will that next book look like,
Yeah.
from going from here to there.
Yeah. I'm
And I
currently
just want to,
outlining, so
huh?
I'm currently outlining everything. So yeah, so like the parts, the events, what's gonna come first, what's gonna
Okay.
happen next.
Okay, excellent. I'm looking forward to it. So, and as you're joining, for the listeners or the readers, if you're joining, you can just tell us where you're chiming in from, you're tuning in from, your city and state. If you have any questions for Felicia, if you want to know what's going on, a little bit more about her books, you can just drop a question, and we'll put it on the screen so that Felicia can answer it for you. So we'll just get into and I know you mentioned that you like mysteries, and you like to the twists and turns. But is this the first book that you wrote when you started your writing journey? Is it
Yes.
it's the first book? And why is it I know you have this is your mystery genre, but is this your mainstay genre, like the genre that you like to write in, or is it, because I know you have a children's book, so tell us why this particular genre and mystery, as opposed to just a straight fiction.
Mm-hmm. I don't. So I do I do favor and I do love all genres. Sci-fi, mystery, crime, historical. I think that every genre has something great to offer, to the viewers, to the reader, and to the audience. It has something great to offer. I'm probably someone who I'm I'm probably someone who I do like to engage with the stories.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, in terms of mysteries and crimes and thrillers and things of that, and genres of that nature, I do tend to favor those genres a little more. 'Cause I think that they allow me to engage more with the actual story. So then once again, as I'm reading the book, or as I'm watching the show, like yes, I'm watching the characters, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching the storyline unfold. But at the same time, even me too, I'm still having like my own analysis, thinking, like, I think she did this, or I think this happened because
Mm-hmm.
if this happened, then this thing, and once again, like it's more of an internal thing for me that I do, but like by myself, like, when I'm like by myself. But then once
Mm-hmm.
again, like it allows me to think more, and then even as I'm creating this book, or as I'm creating my own story, it allows me to think, okay, well, if this person is going to do this, if it, as the author, as I'm creating these characters and these storylines and all the other
Yeah.
things, and I'm thinking, okay, they're going to do this. I have to figure out why are they doing this, why are they acting like this, why would they involve themselves in this thing. So I think that for me, that's definitely a big push when I'm
Yeah.
creating this.
And you mentioned that. I'm sorry, something just fell. So you mentioned, sorry, you
Mhm.
mentioned that you the story is loosely based on your life. So what kind of, without giving too much of the book, because we want the readers to go out and purchase the book, but
Mhm.
what kind of, set the stage for us in the story that the Steel Stone is about. Set the stage for us for that, for the book.
Right, right. So once again, we have our main character. Her name is Bolu Watife. She's a young Nigerian girl living in America with her family, and then due to her academic due to her exemplary academic performances in school, she's being allowed a chance to attend this very prestigious academy on the very wealthy side of town. And
Mm,
so once again, she wants to make the best of it. She wants to take the opportunity, make the best of it. But then once as she arrives, she realizes that okay, that she's like the only person of her kind, meaning racially, she's the only black student in the entire school. Economically, she's the only student who doesn't have the finances to live in that neighborhood, to live in that neighborhood, or to pay for funds to go to school. She's going on scholarship,
right.
or on like financial aid, if you call it. And once again, she's just very thrust in this world where she sees all these things happening. And also, once again, she's coming from a place of faith, from a background of family of faith, where she's always been taught the word, always been taught, to walk with God and all these things. And once again, coming into this new area, she sees how many of her classmates, many people, they're just the complete opposite.
Mm,
They do all these, and then once again throughout the story, I wanted to have her be very entangled with a particular group of kids who she wants to fit in with them. She wants to be like them. She wants them to like her. But then
yeah.
ultimately, seeing their characteristics and seeing their behaviors, it's kind of like, okay, well, I want to be like them. I want them to like me, but is it at this cost? How far am I willing to go
Mm,
for them to accept me? And the one thing, at the same time, there's been very strange things happening at the school that she tends to get caught in the middle of,
mm,
not intentionally, but just
right.
by chance. She just happens to get caught in the middle of it. So once again, it's just her trying to just find her place in the school amongst these new people, and then her just really trying to understand what is happening at this school, and why am I always getting in the middle of it.
Right, right. And that is so important because I feel that, p- I don't want to say, there's always been peer pressure, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But when you're in that situation where you're in you're the odd one out and you're trying to fit in, sometimes you do get caught up in situations where you wish you could just step away, or you wish you didn't have to, or you wish, you're trying to figure it out. And this can go for an adult or a young person. But how the story is written, who would you say your intended audience is for this book? Who is it? Are you targeting a particular age range, or is it just for, you know, someone who likes mystery?
Well, so I would say a little bit of both. So once again, it is aiming towards the young adult, young teenager, that age range. Because once again, even the characters too, they're starting off like from, I want to say, 13, 14 years old. So once
Okay.
again, like, yeah, so once again, readers of that age range from 13 to, let's say, 18, 19 years old, it can,
Okay.
is for them. And then once again, at the same time too, for anyone who is a mystery, crime, thriller lover, who loves to read about stories like this, they're also free
Hmm.
to the story as well.
Yeah. Okay. So this would be a good book for, so if you're out there and you're listening, her book Hillstone is a good book for young adult teenagers going through a certain specific things, if you will. It's an opportunity for them to get into a book and figure out what's going on. and see if everything, if you know how the book moves. And the good thing about it is, if you're local, you'll be able to meet Felicia, because Felicia is one of our authors who will be at the book expo on Saturday. So this is a great opportunity. If you want to meet this author, Felicia, you can come to the book expo and meet with her and talk to her a little bit about her book and books, because she not only has this book, Hillstone, but she has other books as well, not only for young adults but for children. So we're very excited for Felicia to participate in the book expo. And as a you kind of told us a little bit about the book, but what was um, the creative process like for you to write the book, in terms of how much research? I know it's loosely based on real life, but is there any part of the story that you had to do some research for, to um, you know get some information, so that when you put it in the book, it's something that, like, oh, this is what this is.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. So that's a very good question, because because once again, with me especially, I'm, even when I am writing something that's out of my mind, out of my thought process, my creativity, I do like to have some kind of research to back it up. So I was, so even based on my main character, who's a Bo is her nickname in the story. I was very influenced by the story of Ruby Bridges, and how Ruby Bridges, she herself too, I believe it was during the time of this of the the civil rights movement, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. She too, she too was one of the first Black students to enter into an integrated white school.
Hmm.
And though many people opposed it, and though many people or against it, she went up against all odds, and she entered that school. I believe it
Right.
was I believe it was sometime during November of 1960, or 1960. I can't remember the exact year, but it was in that in that similar timeline that she
Hmm.
was to enter into it. So then once again, I took the inspiration and applied it to my main character, Bo, as her being once again like the first, most, yeah, yeah, one of the first people of color to ever enter such a prestigious, wealthy academy, where a
Hmm.
majority of students and staff are white, and they've never come across any person of color before. And then
Right.
once again, also using that as a bit of a gateway, because also, for my, you know little a little spoiler, definitely later on in the series, we're going to see other characters from other backgrounds, and other colors and other
Hmm.
backgrounds, also, also have a chance to enter the school, and to have a chance to integrate around other students. So once again, even for her to enter in, it serves as a gateway for others, it serves as a gateway for others to enter as well.
Hmm. And what is the message with the book that you're trying to portray? Is there a message behind the story in
Hmm.
Hillstone?
Hmm. Hmm. it's it, it's a mix of a lot of things. I think that once again, being looking at the target that I wanted to aim at. To the previous question you asked before, you asked about like who was aimed at the target. I was looking to aim towards the a young generation of children, a
Hmm.
young generation of kids who, when you see them, they really do face, back then and even now still, they face a lot of things.
Yes.
There's peer pressure, there's issues with culture, issues with religion,
Yes.
issues with issue issues with sexual tension. There's so many different, there's so many different things that, drugs, gambling, there's so many different things that that young children do face nowadays, although they may not show it, or they may not talk about it a lot. There's a lot of things that they face. Even me too, I've come across many young kids, 13, 14 years old, talking to me about some issues that they're going through in their home life, and in their background. And it's like, wow, this stuff is real, and it actually, and it really does happen. So
Yes.
once again, even taking some of those and a little bit as inspiration,
Hmm.
and once again turning those into themes, into themes, and once again, allowing those to become messages that, despite whatever they're going through, whatever they're talking about, it's being seen and it's being validated, and they're not alone. Because once again, if I can showcase other characters, or other storylines in this novel and in the series to come, if I can
Mm-hmm.
showcase other backgrounds, other characters who are also going through similar issues, whether with their parents, their friends, their loved ones, back and forth themselves,
Right.
it it shows this young audience that they're not alone, and that whatever they're going through, I, as the author, I see it and I validate it and I understand it.
Okay. And as you're talking, and I'm listening to, as you're saying that those you bring up those issues in the book, are there resolutions? Does the book provide a resolution, or a means of, you're going through a situation, and this is how I dealt with it, and this is how I came out on the other side? Does the book deal with the figuring out of the issue? Does it walk the reader through, not only, okay, this is the issue and I know that you're going through it and I do validate you, but does it provide any kind of, and I know it's not a self-help book, but does it provide any kind of resolution for some of those issues that they may face that you discussed?
Yes, it's very up and down, uh, depending on the situation or the character or whatever, or the intensity, the depth of the situation that they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Some may have good endings, some may have tragic endings, some may have endings in between. Once again, it all just depends on who's involved, what's happening, what's being learned throughout the story. The character may learn their lesson, they may not learn their lesson, and they may end up repeating it on over and over again. But I think that once again, it all comes back to them being able to understand and face the issue, and face the issue and really know, okay, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I'm going through. And once again, whether if they learn a lesson or they don't learn a lesson, it's really, at least they're coming to face with it, and they're coming to terms with it, and they're not running away from it.
Okay. Okay. And the um for the young person, so this was your first book, and I see people popping in and out. So if you have a question for Felicia, please drop it in the chat. We'll pop the question right up. She's here. She's ready to answer questions. So please feel free to send her a note. And if you want to just tell us where you're tuning in from, just put your city and state. We want to know where you are. We'll kind of give you a shout out so we can welcome you to the Author Speaks. Um, and I wanted to find out, so this was your first book. How long did it take you to write the book? Because, sometimes, some books go really quickly. I know for me, when I'm writing, sometimes I go like, it goes really quickly, and then others, 2 3 years of still working on this project. So for this being how long did it take you to write this book, and what do you think was the hardest part about writing the book?
Hmm. I want to say about a year and a half. A year and a half. I finished it by early 2022. I finished it. And
Mm-hmm.
then I think I began taking it seriously and really writing it by sometime in 2021, because mind you, COVID happened in 2020. And then I
Mm-hmm.
think that like the year before, I was, the whole backstory. I was taking classes, writing short stories, and I cultivated into this. And I think that by 2021, by beginning of 2021,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of began taking it a bit serious and thinking, okay, I can actually like create this and write this as a story. Like, why not? So
Right.
then definitely 2021 was when I began writing it, and I was sitting down every day, just cultivating, outlining the story, just cultivating and cultivating it. And then definitely by April of 2022 was when I finally like finished it, done and everything. And then it was published. It was published and released by ending of 22, going into 2023.
Congratulations. So what do you think was the hardest part
Mhm.
about writing the story, or writing the
Just
book?
yeah, just f- knowing that it could be a story. I think for me as a writer, sometimes you have I have like and this is probably for other writers. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just me. I'm not sure, but I think that a lot of times it's just it was because it wasn't even like, oh, thinking of the names and the characters
Mm-hmm.
and the titles. It was really just acknowledging that this was a story, and that
Mm.
this was a story that had to be out there. Because several times, even as I was writing it, I kept thinking, I'm like, this doesn't really sound good, or this doesn't really look good. And I remember several times I kept on looking at, I myself, I kept on looking at other writers and other authors who I loved, Stephen King, Toni Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
I just kept looking at their works and looking at, things that they had put out there, and I kept on getting, once again, falling into that spiral of comparison, thinking, okay,
Yeah.
can this story ever be as great, ever be as good as theirs? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that once again, like, that's probably, if not my number one rule, one of my personal rules, when it comes to writing, and even when it comes to life in general, just
Mm-hmm.
never falling into that spiral, into that pit of comparison, because
Yeah.
that is ultimately where I have lost myself a lot of times, especially as a
Mm-hmm.
writer, in understanding and knowing that I have a story to tell, and that this story, may have never been told before, and even if it has been told before, I've even heard that too. How there are some, I remember. Side note: one time I was actually speaking with my publisher about it. He was saying, "Oh, this sounds very similar to another story that another writer did,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Okay, well, once again, this is my story. I'm the one writing it, so this is my
Right.
story. It's my story to tell. So once
Mm-hmm.
again, it can't be that similar, or that, or sounding exactly like someone else's, because every writer is different. Every writer has every artist is different. Whether you're a
Yes.
writer or whatever, every writer is different. We all have our own stories to tell, and I think that once again, it was just coming into that acknowledgement that this is a story, and that whether if it's and whether if it's and that even if it's not the same kind of writing, or not the same kind of flow as other writers have, it's it's my story, and it's my story to tell. And that
Yeah.
once again, through this story being out there, this can bless someone, this can, this can help someone, this can reach someone, this can really encourage someone. And
Yeah.
so I think that once again, definitely a major hurdle that I had to overcome and pray through, and just be like, you know what, no matter what, this story is for someone. It's
Yeah.
not just for me, but it's for someone out there. And if one person can be blessed by it, then that would make me happy.
And that is something that is, and I will just say this: comparison is a thief of joy.
Yes, yes.
It is so important for us not to get bogged down with, um I'm looking at this person, because they say, oh, there's no original thought, but each and
Mhm.
every one of us has our own story to tell. And even though it may be similar, it is going to be different, because there's so much that you bring to the table. Your experiences are not exactly the same. You may go through something similar, but your interpretation of what the situation is going to be so much different from someone else. So it is
Yes.
very important for you as a writer to not get caught up in the whole idea of, well, this isn't how Toni Morris wrote it, or this isn't how, um, um, Baldwin wrote it, or any of those popular authors, whether poet or mystery writer or children's book author, any one of those individuals. You can't look at their work and mirror your work to it, because you're your own unique individual as a writer, as a person. So, you know, it's funny that you brought that up, because sometimes people don't recognize that can also be uh, a setback for an author or someone not believing in themselves and believing that,
Mhm.
hey, I have a voice and I should share my voice, and my voice is important and my voice matters.
Yes.
I'm glad that you actually, really shared that. And I hope that those people who are listening or will tune in after to watch the program will really take that little bit, because that is so important for people to understand as a
Yes.
writer, or even just in life general. Um, you know, So, in terms of your book and your writing, what motivates you to write? What is your thing? What is that gives you that little punch in the back to say, okay, I gotta go, I gotta write. I need to do this.
I think it's just the understanding that, once again, going back to my last response, that there's always a story. There's always a story to tell, and
Hmm.
sometimes um, you may go through essentially life and just go through your day, and and you know all those times, when you come back home and they ask, well, how was your day? Oh, it was fine. Oh, it was just regular day. But then
Yeah.
no, even sometimes, even in that regular day, there's always an event, a conversation,
Hmm.
something in that day that can just tell a story. And I
Yeah.
think that even me too, once again, back in 2020, probably back in 2021, 2022, that was when I really began being very intentional about
Mm.
life itself, and just being very intentional about how I spend my time, how I spend my days, how I go about my life in general, just these different kinds of things. Then little by little, I was getting all these like sparks, just these like sparks of inspiration. I was like, you know what,
Mm.
just this conversation, or from
Yeah.
watching the news, or from something, and then I'm just creating all these different kinds of all these stories. I think
Yeah.
that, once again, the encouragement and finding the courage to understand that, to acknowledge and understand that there's a story to tell from this, from this interaction, from this conversation, from this from this from this poem, or this piece that I wrote or that I read. There is something in there that has to be told, and realizing that even myself, I have the power. I have the power to tell that story.
Yeah. And one thing that you just said that really kind of struck a nerve with me is being intentional about
Hmm.
your writing, being intentional about life in general. That is um, so powerful, because I think sometimes people we forget to be, we lose the intention, we lose a purpose. And once we again circle back and be intentional about it, then you can achieve some of the goals that you have set for yourself. And I
Yes.
think, like you said, once you became intentional about what it is that you wanted to do, you are now able to write your book. And
Hmm.
you've written other books, and you are in the process of writing more books. So being intentional about what it is that you want to do and life in general puts you on a path to success, if you will. It just because you're now a published author. How many books do you have now?
So far it's about four, actually. Four.
Okay, so you heard it here. Felicia decided to be intentional, and now she has 4 books. That is the message that we want to just put out there. Being intentional about what it is that you want to do and going forth and really putting it out there. And I know you kind of hinted it at a little bit, but what is the next project? Can you tell us a little bit about the other books that you have written and published?
Right. So I actually have one right here. I'm going to show it to everyone. So this one was.
And while Felicia is getting that book, if you have a question for Felicia, you can just drop it in the chat. If you have a question for her, or if you just want to make a comment to what she said, you can just drop it in the chat. And also just put where your city and state, where you're tuning in from. We want to say hi, hello to you as well. So don't forget to do that. And if you do also want, if you're an author and you're tuning in and you want to participate, go to iabx.org to go to our website and sign up to be a part of our Author Speaks. Okay, so Felicia's going to show us just talk to
Yeah,
us a little bit about her book.
yeah, so this is called The Different Ones. This was actually the first children's book children's book that I put out there, that I had published. This one came shortly after Hillstone. But yeah, but that one too was definitely something else that once again it took me a lot of courage to be able to come to terms with and say, you know what, I wrote this. This is my own work. This is my own story. And if this can encourage someone, bless someone, touch someone, heal someone, then it deserves to be out there. It doesn't deserve to just be on my laptop, hidden draft on my laptop.
Share it out there. And what is the different ones about? Just give us a little snippet about what its book
Yeah.
is about.
Okay. So this one actually was something that I wrote when I was, I think, in middle school. I wrote it when I was in middle school for a teacher, and it's about three animals living in the jungle, and how once again throughout the story they all find the courage and the confidence to be able to. So once again, they all get like rejected in the army. I don't want to give too much, but once again, it's about three animals who are kind of rejected because of their own quirks and their own things that make them weird and such. And then they find that by using their own quirks and their own things that make them different, they're able to actually save the day. And so once again, from there, they all learn that though they are different, though they have traits and abilities and quirks that make them different, that make them seem weird and unlikable, that's what makes them unique and that's what makes them special. And that they have the power and the courage to essentially save the day.
Nice. I like that because a lot of times, in a world where we're being asked to be, I feel like sometimes we're being in a sense of uniformity. um,
Yes.
your difference, it's our differences that make us great. um,
Yes.
we aren't all the same, and we each have our own unique purposes and talents. And when we embrace our talents and our gifts, that allows us to be a more rounded community, organization, group. I tell people when I did my master's degree, my my friends look like the UN. We are all from. I had one friend from Japan, one was from China, one was from Turkey, one was from um, Pakistan. We were all from all over, and of course, I'm from Jamaica. So we're from all over the place. So it's good to embrace your difference because it's okay. It's okay. So we have a message here from Jackie Nicholson. She says, "Hello, I'm from Florida. Please put the name of the book in the comments. I would love to get it in my child's classroom."
Wow.
Okay, awesome. So we will put that in.
There right now.
The book it's called The Different Ones. Let me get that
Yes.
right. The Different Ones. That's correct. And it's
Yes.
with
I think I put it in there. Oh no, this is a private chat. Sorry.
Felicia. And I'm going to put this down. And if you have any other questions for Felicia, please. And thank you so much, Jackie, for tuning in.
Yeah.
Um, and this is what this program is about, allowing us to connect, the authors to connect with you, the reader. And Jackie is tuning in from Florida. I hope all is well with you, Jackie, in Florida, because we know Florida was hit really hard with the storm. Both storms, Helen and the other guy,
Yes.
who shall not be named. But thank you so much for tuning in, Jackie, and we hope you're okay. And if you don't mind, what age is your child? And we have a few more people tuning in. That's awesome. I'm excited for you, Felicia, because you just got connected. And we're here in Jersey, so that book is going to Florida real soon. Real soon.
Yes.
Yes. So and we have what is one, and we've been giving out you've been giving out a lot of gems today. But what is one thing in particular that you'd like to tell new authors coming into the publishing world? One advice that you have gotten, one advice that you'd want to give them, something you say, I wish I'd known this when I started off.
Hmm. Know your truth.
Mm,
No one else is you. No one else is in your shoes. No one else has your mind. No one else has the experiences that you have. Only you have the ability. Now, yes, of course, you can share your experiences and share what you go through with other people and such. But I think that there's such power and understanding that you ha- there's such power and understanding, understanding the way the way you internalize certain things or certain
mm,
people or certain experiences that you go through, because once again, you're the one going through it. It's not your family, it's not your friends, it's not your siblings, it's not your girlfriend or your boyfriend. It's you. You're the one going through it yourself.
mm,
I think that once again, understanding your truth, and then once again, if you are a writer, a poet, if you write short stories, and if you also write novels as well, understanding that when you write it out, you're writing your truth. You're
mm,
writing your experience and your truth from your own perspective. And once again, it doesn't have to be likable. It doesn't have to be the at the golden standard, because once again, you're writing it from your own experience and from your own experience
mhm.
in your own knowledge.
Right, right. And I think that is important, to know your truth and to be able to stand in it, because a lot of the times people are so easily swayed by
Yes.
the popular opinion or whatever it is that's going on, and you don't realize that, your your thoughts and your ideas are still, they're valid, you know, not right or wrong. Your thoughts and your feelings are valid. So knowing your truth, knowing who you are as a writer, because this is what we're talking about, being an author. And I think that will also help you to solidify your voice when you write, because you now are not, you're not trying to mimic any one author, because you know what your truth is, and you know what it is that you
Mhm.
want to share, and you share
Yes.
it with, you share it without, what's the word I'm looking for, um, without any excuses. That's not the word I'm looking for, but you're not fearful in sharing your thoughts and your ideas, because you know who you are as a person and as a writer. And Jackie just shared with us that her son is in the third grade, and she tends to still buy books for his kindergarten, first grade, and second grade teachers. So thank you for sharing that, Jackie. We really appreciate that, and thank you for joining us too on this Wednesday evening. Um, we're kind of coming to a close with our program, but one of the things we always want to ask our authors, and this we're winding down. Um, when you are writing, do you use pen or paper, or do you use a computer when you write?
When I'm doing my outlines, I'm very old school. I like the pen and paper. I gotta get everything out, just out there. Just write it all down. Write down the
Hmm.
names, the what it's gonna be about. I'm very old school. But when I'm actually like doing the work, I gotta get on the laptop and then just like write it out and do everything. When I'm talking to my publisher and I'm sending him the manuscript, of course, everything has to be typed out. So, yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm both. Definitely, I'm both.
Yeah. And I'm old school too, because I start out with the pen and the paper, and then
Yes.
I'll draft it, because I write children's books as well. I'm a children's book author. So I'll really draft the whole story, on the paper, and then I transfer it to the computer, because I find it's easier for me to edit, even though I have arrows and all kinds of stuff going all over the place on my notebook. But then I write, then I kind of do a lot more editing on my computer. But one thing that I've discovered is, on my phone, I do the talks to text feature. So, I in Google, I can talk into my phone and it'll type up the story, because sometimes I have to get it out of my head really quickly, and I do it there. So I use both to get my story out. And then last but not least, Felicia, before you go, we want you to tell people where they can get your books.
Okay, so Hillstone is available on Amazon, also on Barnes and Nobles, and also once again, of course, any is yeah. So yes, Amazon. Go on Amazon. Go on Barnes and Noble as well. If you're in the New Jersey area and you happen to come across me at a book signing or in person, I also have I have many in stock as well in person as well, and the different ones is available on Amazon.
Barnes and Noble. And then how can they find you on social media?
My Instagram is right there as a Felicia Ogunnowo. I also meant to put a TikTok, but so Instagram, TikTok are
What's
all
your TikTok?
at Felicia Ogunnowo. Yeah, same thing. Felicia Ogunnowo. It's not there, but
Okay, I'm putting it in the chat, so just in case someone
okay.
pumps on, they can look at still find you. So Felicia's books they're available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And if you want to follow her on Instagram, she's at Felicia Ogunnowo, as well as on TikTok. It's the same thing at Felicia Ogunnowo. So we just want to say, and her book is Hillstone, and she also has a children's book called The Different Ones. So definitely reach out to her, check out her books, purchase them online, because she has a quite a bit here to say. And I hope you enjoyed the program. And before we go, we just want to just wrap up and say thank you to Felicia for being here, for participating in this another edition of the Author Speaks. This program is a monthly program that we host. Each month is a different genre, and we feature different authors from these different particular genres. Coming up in 2025, be going back in person, and we'll be going in person, but you can come out then you'll be able to sign she'll be able to sign the books. You can purchase the books right there, right on the spot, and you can take pictures with Felicia. So come on back. And we have another comment here from Jackie. You are such an elegant and lovely person. Thank you for sharing your author story with us.
Thank you so
So
much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
yes, thank you for sharing that, Jackie. And this is very important for us here at IABX to engage with authors and to give them the opportunity and the platform to share their stories
Yes.
and to be able to reach a wider audience. You're all the way in Florida and you're here we're here in New Jersey. So that's just the power of what it is that we're trying to do, and to each one we're trying to just spread the word about our authors, our local authors, and breaking them now national authors. So thank you for tuning in. And for those individuals who are listening in and you're local, we want to share our book expo is going to be, it's 2 days away, and it's going to be at Kane University. Let me pop that right back up. What am I doing? Okay, so the book expo is going to be the 11th annual Independent Authors Book Expo next week, Saturday, October 19th at Kane University Downs Hall. And it's from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. And if you come on down, you will see Miss Felicia Ogunnowo at the book expo. So she'll be able to sign your books. You can take pictures with her, and then you can post them on social media and say, hey, I met the author that was on the Author Speak on Wednesday. Okay,
Yes.
so we really want you to come on out and meet with the other authors. This year we have 45 authors from all across the United States who are going to be there. All different genres: children's book, cookbook, nonfiction, fiction, poetry, inspirational, mystery, folklore, you name it, is going to be there. The authors are going to be there. They're so excited to participate and to share their work. And they're just like Felicia, willing to share and talk about the process.
Yes.
So we invite you to come on down and see us. Again, we're going to be at Kane University. And before we go, I just want to put a little promo video out there. And I have to say, my son did the video. So kudos to Michelle for doing the video for us. I'm going to show that, and then we're going to take a final word from Felicia before we go. Hi everyone, my name is Renee Smith and I'm the CEO and founder of Independent Authors Book Experience, and I'm inviting you to the 11th Annual Independent Authors Book Expo here at Kane University, Downs Hall on Saturday, October 19th, 2024 from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. We have an amazing group of authors who are going to wow you with all different genres of books. We have book signings, author readings, workshops, panel discussions, prizes, and surprises. We have a children's corner just for the little ones to engage with arts and craft, face painting, books, reading, you name it, it's gonna be there. We want to see you come out. Again, it's Saturday, October 19th, here at the beautiful Kane University campus, Downs Hall, Saturday, October 19th, from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. See you there. Excellent. And I'm so excited to share that video. As I said, my son did a video. And if you need a video like that, just reach out to us. You can email us. I'm promoting my son too. You can email us at iabx@hotmail.com. Thank you again, Felicia. Any final words before you go for our listeners?
Just believe in yourself. That's something that, and I know it sounds corny and it sounds motivational speaky, but truly know that whatever story is inside of you, no matter how big, no matter how small it is, it's a story that's worth telling. And you have to believe in that story before anyone else can. So always just have that inside of yourself, know that for yourself, be able to understand that, and that whatever story you are cultivating is something that is worth sharing. So that's just my little gem I like to leave behind.
Okay, well, thank you, Felicia, for being a part of our show today. Thank you for everyone who participated and for listening in. Thank you, Jackie, for sharing and for commenting and interacting with Felicia. I know she really appreciated that. And thank you for listening. And again, we will resume the Author Speaks in 2025, but you can always check out our website, iabx.org. You can meet, we have a list of authors from all different genres. If you're an author and you want to have your book listed, you can join our author, be a part of our author directory so people can find you. There's so much going on at IABX. You want to be a part of the experience. So thank you, Felicia, and everyone, just have a good night, and we look forward to seeing you this Saturday, October 19th at Kane University. Yay! See you soon. Bye, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Bye.